Hey guys, Zach here. Let's talk Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake and why it's actually good. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake is what really started the remake craze of the 2000s, and it was a great way to start. This movie, while not better than the original film, which is one of the greatest horror movies of all time, and definitely in my top 5 movies of all time, but it's still a scary, intense, and great film. So let's start with the beginning when they pick up the hitchhiker. This scene is a lot creepier and intense compared to the hitchhiker scene in the original film. When she pulls out the gun and blows her head off, it's such a shocking moment, and the scene is so well shot.
You're gonna die.
Also, the characters' reactions and them dealing with the aftermath of what has happened makes the scene very dramatic and also more intense than it already was. There is also a good blend of dark humor, such as when the girl says she's not getting back in the van, and it cuts immediately to them back in the van. Another great line is the guy talking about how the brains look like lasagna. Overall, it's a great opening that mixes dark, scary elements with some humor mixed in. Also, just imagine driving around with a dead body in the backseat of your van. That's just gross. Now, let's talk about R. Lee Ermey's character, the sheriff. He's easily the best part of this remake. Such a great evil character that's fun to watch, but also you just hate him and want to see him get what's coming to him. Honestly, he kind of steals the show away from Leatherface in this remake. He just has so many great lines and moments in this film. Him telling the girl that he has respect for the dead body and then making the character stuff her in the trunk is funny, and it shows how ruthless and uncaring the character really is. The way he terrorizes the main characters and makes life miserable for them is another obstacle they have to overcome besides just Leatherface in this movie. And the scene where he makes Morgan reenact the hitchhiker suicide in the van is one of the most intense, uncomfortable scenes in the entire movie.
Morgan, what's going on? You okay?
You girls stay in the dirt till I tell you different. You motherfucker! Get on the fucking floor! I can't get on the floor!
He forces the gun in his mouth, and when Morgan turns it around to shoot the sheriff, it was empty the whole time. It honestly might be my favorite scene in the whole movie, and it doesn't even involve Leatherface. In the end, when Aaron runs him over several times, I yelled out, "Yeah!" That's how great of a character he is and how good he is at making you hate him. So, on the topic of Leatherface in this remake, he has a similar introduction as he does in the original film. But I still think his introduction in the original is better and overall scarier. We do get to see more of Leatherface in this version, which I'm okay with, as I do like this portrayal of the character. He's nowhere near as iconic as Gunnar Hansen's version of the character, but he's probably the second best version of Leatherface in the entire franchise. The scene where he kills Pepper and turns around to show Jessica Biel that he's wearing her boyfriend's face is just a great moment. And that's something we don't get in the original, is Leatherface wearing one of Sally's friends' faces. I do like the look of Leatherface in this movie, which is an important factor in a Texas Chainsaw movie. The only problem I have with his look is the look of his face without the mask. It just looks stupid to me, and I don't need to see him without a mask on and him looking deformed. It just doesn't really do it for me. It's not that scary to me. Overall, Leatherface is good in this version. He's intense, intimidating, and scary. While he's not better than the original, he's still a great version of Leatherface. So let's talk about the victims in this movie. First of all, Jessica Biel looks great in this movie. And also, she's a great final girl. She has to go through a lot and fights through all of it. She sees Leatherface wearing her boyfriend's face. She has to kill her other friend out of mercy when he's begging for her to stab him. And also, she has a great final chase with Leatherface in the slaughterhouse, which is a really great setting for a Texas Chainsaw movie. Her hiding in the lockers while Leatherface searches for her is great, scary stuff. And her popping out and chopping his arm off with the cleaver is great final girl stuff. Outside of her character, though, I don't really care for the other protagonists in the movie. However, as the film goes on and you see the terrible things that Arlie Ermy and Leatherface do to these characters, I do start to sympathize with them. The scene where the ring falls out of Kemper's pants when Leatherface hangs him up is actually pretty heartbreaking because Erin brings up wanting a ring in the beginning. And you see that she was actually going to get one until this tragedy happened. The character of Morgan, especially, just gets tortured and humiliated by the sheriff. And even though I thought he was annoying at first, I kind of root for him to get out of the situation in the end. And I feel that makes a great horror movie, feeling bad for the horrors the characters are going through, and this remake does that very well, much like the original film did. So, final thoughts. This is one of the best remakes in horror history. It's terrifying and it makes you sympathize with what the characters are going through. It has a great final girl and two great antagonists in the sheriff and Leatherface. It captures that dark, gritty vibe of the original film, but does it in its own unique and up-to-date way. To me, it's not better than the original film, but it is certainly a film I enjoy watching and one of the better films in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise, which doesn't have that many great movies in it, if we're being honest. So, let me know what you guys think about this remake, how you compare it to the original film. Tell me what you feel about the Texas Chainsaw franchise as a whole. And with that, Zach has spoken.